Wow. Yesterday was a crazy one. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. I'm deeming 10/10 October 10th to forever be Jimmy Butler Day, or at least until something else spectacular happens on October 10th. But he really set the NBA world on fire. It was supposed to be just a day where some NBA fans watch some preseason games, some meaningless preseason games, and then we slowly count down until the regular season starts. We really got stuff to talk about. But Jimmy Butler decided, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go into the practice facility with this team that I've requested a trade from and set it on fire. And that's exactly what he did. If you don't know, Jimmy Butler requested a trade around September 18th, September 19th. And, well, he hasn't been with the team since then. He's been working out in the practice facilities, but mostly when players weren't there, coaches weren't there. But with us being just a couple days away from the NBA season, he still hasn't been traded. And I think that he realizes this. He's like, you know what? I got to let the world know what's going on. I need to be traded. So he goes to the practice facility and he balls out. Apparently he had one of the best practices in the world, and while he's having this practice, he's talking to the players, talking trash to the players, to the coaches, to the owner, the general manager. Said, you effing need me, you can't win without me. Putting it all on the table. And then after that, had an interview scheduled with ESPN's Rachel Nichols. Now with all of this, I've seen a lot of people have their own opinion. One that was very prominent on Twitter is that Jimmy Butler is being a professional. Jimmy Butler's being a big baby. And I'm here to tell you that no. Jimmy Butler knows what he's doing. He's trying to make his trade happen. You think that Rachel Nichols just so happened to be in Minnesota that day? No. This was completely planned by Jimmy Butler and his camp, that I'm going to go into practice, and then after practice, I'm going to do this interview for the world to see. And in this video, in this interview, Jimmy Butler throws it all on the table and he explains exactly why he wants to be traded. He goes in depth with his players and what's going on in the locker room and behind the scenes that us regular NBA fans don't really get to see. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down everything that happened in this interview. Hopefully the ESPN/the NBA doesn't copyright strike this video, because we will be using footage from the interview, because I think that's like the only way to, so you can hear what he's saying and he gets his point across. But let's get into the first official clip.
I'm passionate about it. I love the game and I love to win. And that's all I was out there doing, was competing, playing hard, doing what I'm supposed to do on the basketball floor.
So Jimmy Butler's always been a very emotional player, and if you ask me, that's one of the reasons why he is one of the greatest we have in the game right now. He leaves it all on the table on both sides of the floor. And you add on top of that that he hasn't played like organized NBA basketball since they were eliminated in the playoffs, well, it's got to have him feeling some type of way. Everybody else has got their little legs wet with the preseason, but him being disconnected from the team, he hasn't really got that. So of course he's going to be super emotional. And you think about it, I mean, we're just a couple days away from the NBA season starting, and he has not been traded to a team, so he's got to be anxious, and that's why you got this huge outburst.
So you were back in practice today. I assume you're going back tomorrow. Should people think, because you are back in practice, that this is fixed, or it's on its way to being fixed?
I think people think that. I would think that too. It's not. It's not fixed. Let's just be honest. It's not fixed.
Is it fixable?
It could be. It could be.
Now keep this quote in your mind as we go through this entire video. He leaves the door open. And I think that's the biggest flaw in this interview. He leaves the door open. He said there's still a chance that this can all be okay. If you want to trade, keep it that way. You know, don't leave no air for Thibodeau to breathe, because Thibodeau sees this part. He's like, yo, maybe we just don't have to trade him.
You go and you ask any one of my players, did you get better today? Ask one of my teammates, did you get better today? Every last one of them is going to say, yeah.
So this all ties into the Woj tweet, when Woj is like, the players left the practice energized and mesmerized with Jimmy Butler's performance. And I'm thinking, like, how? It seemed like he just pooped on them for a 2-hour practice. You saying they're energized and they're mesmerized? But apparently, Jimmy Butler took the end of the bench guys, those third-string players that you know never touch the floor, the practice players, and played against the starters and won. We're talking about ex-All-Star Jeff Teague, ex-MVP Derrick Rose, $147 million man Andrew Wiggins. Taj Gibson don't really got like no preview name. And then All-Star Karl Anthony Towns. He took that starting lineup and beat them with guys like James Nunnally, who averaged like 3 points per game in his career, Darius Johnson Odom, Never even heard the name before. Jared Terrell? Who? Jonathan Starks? Who? You tell me if you've known those players. You probably don't. And Jimmy Butler took that roster and beat the starters.
Who's the most talented player on our team? Cat. Who's the most God-gifted player on our teams? Wiggs. Wiggs got the longest arms, biggest hands, can jump the highest, can run the fastest. But like, who plays the hardest? Me. I play hard. I play really hard. I put my body on the line every day in practice.
This is something that I have said plenty of times in videos before. Towns has always been super, super talented. Wiggins, naturally gifted. And then when you add Jimmy Butler, I thought this was going to be a match made in heaven. When the trade happened, I just thought this was about to be a perfect fit because players, Karl Anthony Towns at the time when the trade happened was 21, Wiggins was 22. One thing that both of those guys were kind of lacking was that motor. And who has one of the biggest motors in the NBA? Jimmy Butler. So when you add that together, Jimmy Butler maybe rub off a little bit on them, and then you get this big three that's going to be incredible. Well, obviously, that didn't happen. I even went back to look at Wiggins' pre-draft scouting report because Wiggins has always been looked at as the next LeBron, Maple Jordan, the next Kobe. He had the most hype I've ever seen out of a high school player since like LeBron. But even back on his scouting report, one thing that it says is that we don't know if he has the heart. And here we are years later, and that's still the truth. We don't know if he has the heart. Wiggins is naturally gifted. It's one of the reasons why he averaged 25 or 20 points per game. And then even last year, averaged like 17. He has all the tools to be great, but he doesn't have the motor. If you add the motor that Jimmy Butler has into a Wiggins body, we're talking about one of the greatest players in the current NBA. But since he doesn't have that, he struggles and the team struggles. And you have to understand that that probably gets Jimmy Butler annoyed. This guy has everything it takes to be one of the greatest, except for the motor.
It's that nobody wants to tell the truth. That's what it is. Nobody wants to be honest. When somebody makes a mistake, you look the other way. Not me. If I make a mistake, you tell me. If I gamble, stop gambling. But if I do something that you don't like, tell me. Don't be like, hey, da-da-da-da. Don't talk to me like that. Talk to me like, look, you know you're not supposed to do that. So that's how I talk to people when they do something they're not supposed to do, and it's just like, whoa, he doesn't like that guy. No, it's not the fact that I don't like the guy. That's how I get my point across.
And here's where the disconnect comes between Jimmy Butler and his teammates. His style of mentorship, his style of brotherhood is probably a lot different than most players are used to. As he said, he's going to keep it real with you 100% of the time. And some of these players may not have had that in their life. If we're talking 2K terms, his teammates got the pat my back pat badge on, and he got the keep it real. And those two things butt heads. Jeff Teague said in the offseason that this team, this Minnesota Timberwolves team, did not work out together at all in the offseason. They walked into training camp, and that was the first time they had played together in 2 months. That is crazy, because if you follow people on Instagram or Twitter, we're talking about these NBA guys in the offseason, they're still working out together. Yeah, they have the period of time when they go on this large vacation, cool. But when that vacation is over, they're in the gym together. They're building their brotherhood. They're building their chemistry. And the Timberwolves didn't do that. Their first time seeing each other in 2 months was in training camp. They don't have this brotherhood that most teams probably should if they're trying to win. And because of that, things are not the way they expected.
But I went into practice today and I competed. And right now, I know Tibbs. He's in there by himself. He locked his door and he's smiling. He's laughing. Tibbs, I know you, man. I know you. He's like, yeah.
You think he's happy with what happened today?
Yeah.
And this is why I think that Thibodeau doesn't want to trade Jimmy Butler. Nobody on that team other than Jimmy has that fire. Nobody on that team really has that heart. Nobody on that team is that grit guy. Think about all the teams that are successful right now in the NBA. Every one of them has one of those guys. Draymond Green, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid, Marcus Smart, hell, even like Jay Crowder. All of those teams have it. And if Jimmy Butler's not on the Timberwolves anymore, they don't have that guy.
You're going to get the best version of me no matter what.
Okay.
Whoever I suit up for, you're going to get the best version. I'm going to do my job.
So remember that clip I told you to keep in your mind Well, again, Jimmy Butler leaves the door open. Also, earlier in the interview that I couldn't put in here, he says that Thibodeau's job is to put the best team forward. And as Thibodeau's trying to save his job, well, that's one of the incentives to keep Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler says that no matter what team he suits up for, he's going to give his 100%. And Thibodeau hears this, he's like, because of that, we're just not going to trade him. But Thibodeau also has to think about, in the offseason, he's not going to resign. So do you want to keep him around for one more year, potentially make the playoffs, and then he dips? Or do you want to trade him now, get something in return that you can help build around Wiggins and Towns? I don't know. Thibodeau has to figure this out. And it seems like with all the trade offers that have been thrown his way, he's always wanted just way too much than what he has. You got to think about it. Though Jimmy Butler's a top 15 player in this league, they're not going to get a lot for him. He's on the last year of his deal, and now the Timberwolves don't have any leverage whatsoever. The whole world knows that Jimmy Butler wants out, and he wants out bad. So if I'm another general manager that wants Jimmy Butler, I'm thinking, yo, they got to trade him. So let me throw them half the value that we would originally give for Jimmy Butler. And that's it, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching the video. I still want to see Jimmy Butler get traded, but there's still like 15% of me that's like, Thibodeau's going to keep him. He's going to suit up game one. He's going to have a good season. Thibodeau's not going to trade him. So it's been a few hours since I recorded that video, but we just got the notification that Jimmy Butler had a players-only meeting with his roster, and it seems like they plan on keeping him from the beginning of the regular season. This doesn't necessarily mean that he won't get traded, but it seems like he's going to be ready for the regular season with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I question whether or not to even put this video out, because it seems like a lot of the stuff that he said no longer matters. But when I tweeted that, people on Twitter kept saying that they would still watch the video to put it out anyway. So here we are, still with my opinions. But let's go back to the outro. But only time will tell. We still patiently waiting. We still got Woj and Shams on alerts on Twitter. Maybe it'll happen before the season starts, maybe not. But at the end of the day, I don't think Jimmy Butler was being unprofessional. I don't think Jimmy Butler was being a big baby. It wasn't him that leaked out what was said at practice. It was someone else. Yeah, he had the interview set up, but he didn't tell the world what he told the GM. Somebody else did. Jimmy Butler's competitive. He wants out, and hopefully he gets out for the sake of him and for the sake of the league. We want to see every player in a situation that they like. So thank y'all again for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave it a like. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. NBA, please don't copy strike this video. Please. The team that I think is going to be that team this year, potentially number 3 seed. This is my bold prediction. Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks will be the 3rd seed this year. Bold prediction. They just got too many pieces. They got a coach that actually knows what the hell he's doing. And when you watch the preseason games and you compare it to what they did last year, offensively, their flow is a lot better.